De La Soul interviews have been great. They've been promoting the new album, which we played the other day, which is also great. They were on the Bootleg Kev pod, and he asked them a interesting question about their competition with Tribe that I thought was interesting. So let's see what this is about.
Album. You guys have such a brotherhood with Tip, and rest in peace to Fife. And we think about Tribe, we think about De La. You guys are synonymous with each other. Mm-hmm. Like, I can only imagine, because I'm sure you guys were just in the studio with each other all the time. Mm-hmm. What was it like?
Do you see the mischief in his eyes as he asks this question? Do you see it? You see him like, I wanna kind of ask him a bullshit question. Let's see how that goes.
Like ever like a friendly rivalry between you guys? Because it was like, it had to be like a steel sharpened steel.
It was always that.
Yeah,
really. Yeah, but in a real friendly, like for me, and I can't even speak for me. For me, it was like inspiration. Like when I would be around Q-Tip and he could just play me something that is so crazy and have the nerve to then erase it in front of me.
That's crazy. If you caught what he just said, he said that they would go in the studio with Tip. Tip would play them something crazy, and then he would erase it in front of them, which to me is confirmed psychotic behavior. Psychotic.
I would be like, yo, this dude is crazy. If he know he just can just sit on stuff like that he can just erase a beat, I gotta get my shit together. Like, that's what it was for me. I was just really inspired around him in Africa because those dudes was like really, really dope to me. So
yeah, I'm always inspired by Tip. I actually stopped coming to the studio because of that.
Look at the cold seriousness with which he says this. I stopped coming to the studio because Tip would play stuff for me that was crazy and erase it. I could see that being very frustrating, though. That sounds like an awful thing to do to your friends, to play them great stuff and erase it. And I also know that at that time with those machines and equipment, you were dealing with limited space and stuff anyway. But it still seems mean to just do it in front of them. It seems really mean.
Because you hear one thing and you fall in love with it, and then it's totally something else, or it didn't make the album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So after the second album with Tribe, I stopped showing up. I wait till
second album being Low End Theory.
You get frustrated.
Yeah,
because you want to hear the finished product. Yeah. I mean, it's just too many to name. Like Everything Is Fair. Like the original to Everything Is Fair.
Oh man,
was bananas.
Like what you hear on the record
is not the original.
Yeah, that was one of the songs that broke my heart.
Yo,
really.
Like
I love what's on the record, but the original in the studio, it was.
Yeah,
it's interesting because if you go back to
and I can't even imagine what the difference must be. Thanks for 4 months, KBSP TV. We only know the album version, which is a very distinct sort of beat. I'm like, damn, I wonder what the difference was. What it could have sounded like.
Early 90s New York hip hop, you guys kind of laid the groundwork. And then it kind of feels like, we always have like these, I would say like kind of like weird divisions in hip hop, people's styles, people's, movements. And I can only imagine. So you guys are coming up, Tribe's coming up. Obviously Public Enemy's already a thing. And then you get like Wu-Tang, Nas, Biggie later. Mm-hmm. Totally different vibe. But it's kind of crazy that y'all didn't like mesh more together then. Was it because y'all were just kind of on like obviously Wu-Tang was on some street shit like
nah, the industry was just changing, man. Things were actually changing and everybody was moving according to the change.
Because outside of that we all hung around each other.
Right.
I mean, RZA loved Prince Paul. He loved us. He would
ended up with Grave Diggers.
He would all
ended up started well anyway. This conversation is always so interesting to me, of course, and I've talked to many people about this. I've talked to LP about this. I guess I didn't talk to Prince Paul about this so much because a lot of his work was so much before the Great Division started. But I often think on my understanding or the way I thought about the divisions within hip hop as a consumer at that time, and it all felt very intentional as consumers. But again, like this is where I always like to remind people, the record labels were doing a very good job of of a kind of marketing that was keeping things separate too. But then, I think about Stakes is High, right? They sick of R&B chicks and bullshit raps and it's the stuff they were saying in that song Stakes is High, the single, which was sort of announcing their entrance into the current era, the current being 1996 or whatever. It did seem like some of what they were doing was separating themselves from the more materialist stuff that was going on with Biggie and them. I don't know. So some of it seemed like it came from the content too, but then there was another level with the marketing and making sure that, this was true school and this was mainstream rap BS. And then the Wu-Tang seemed like it was just a whole thing on its own. Like, other than crossing over with like Nas, you just didn't see the Wu-Tang do too much with too many people. But that's also the benefit of having like 9 amazing MCs that can, literally fill in all your cameo spaces on your album, so you don't need to go get, whoever else is popping in order to fill the album out. But I always think these things are interesting to talk about.
Always be around us. But yeah, like as May said, when we started in '89, yeah, if Wu-Tang and Nas and them was out then, we would have all been on tour together. It's just, it changed.
You guys were first, yeah.
It just changed that by the time they were prevalent, the system was set up like someone who has to be exactly.
Desperado said, but then you got to chase down the Wu-Tang members for a feature. You got to chase down anybody for a feature, though. You got to chase down anybody. It's probably easier to chase down the people you know than to chase down the people you don't know.
Like Wu-Tang will be together with them, like Rough Riders will be, I don't know, with someone who's got the same energy as them, opposed to them being with Daylight.
Yeah, you see Rough Riders and maybe Rockefeller or something like that.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So they start marrying synonymous groups as opposed to mixing a bunch of different fruit together.
Yeah.
Right. Where we come from, we was all mixed up. We was a mixed salad when we
Houdini on
first
the
came
tour
out.
with Run DMC, like, more stylistic with Houdini. Run DMC's rough around the edges, but they were on tour together.
Right.
But it was like if they were still together in the era we came in, they would have never been near each other. Like Houdini would have been with like Heavy D.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And we toured with LL, N.W.A, Too Short, Kane, Slick Rick,
TOC. We all loved each
all
other.
under one roof.
That's so crazy. Yeah. What's the N.W.A? What's it like being like on tour N.W.A back then?
N.W.A had the best, to this day, the best live show.
They're actually
that I've ever
responsible for De La's live show in a lot.
They inspired y'all.
Which is a wild notion to me too. I've never seen an N.W.A show. I've never seen anybody from N.W.A perform live, I don't think. I feel like I may have seen footage of an Ice Cube show, which was great. But other than that, I've never saw a full N.W.A show. I think the only time I even saw Dr. Dre live visually was when he coordinated that Super Bowl thing a few years back. So I never would have thought of their show as being that crazy, but apparently it had a huge impact on De La Soul's show, which was, from my experience, one of the best shows I've ever seen. I saw them like 4 or 5 times, and they always had the livest show to me. The way that they would command the crowd, split the crowd up. If you ever heard Disc 1 on the Lyricist Lounge album, it's hosted by Pos and Dave. And they do a little bit of their stage banter even while they're just in the studio pretending to host the show. And you can hear sort of like the tactics they use to keep everybody engaged. So it's wild to hear that any of that was influenced by N.W.A.
Have the best,
in a major
to this
way.
day, the best live show I've ever seen.
In a major way. Knowing how to...
Best hip-hop live show?
Yo, N.W.A know how to turn a dead room into a very live atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like, to come in the room and people just sitting, they know how to get it going right from the top.
It would be like, I would, even to this day, funny enough, I've never asked them. Like, I would just want to know how or who taught them to be so on point with their live show. Because for them to be so many people, they even broke that up. DLC first, Yella, and Dre.
And then they would
Cube by himself. Right. Then they gave you doses of themselves and then
the group
on.
And the whole group. Yeah.
It
was crazy.
They had such great showmanship.
And if they had 30 minutes, they could pull all of that off
together
in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was insane to
watch.
But
then they had the Broadway play aspect, like prostitutes walking with props up and like manhole, like they came out of the manhole, like they had
Dre DJing on 2 garbage cans.
Yo, it was just
crazy.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
You know, light pole set up with holes on the corner.
Are y'all kicking it backstage on tour?
Bugging out.
Because I can just imagine, like, because obviously Cube did a really good job of, like, you know, going to New York and working on America's Most Wanted, but that was, you know, a little bit later, I'm sure. But I can just imagine how crazy it'd have been if y'all would have got
He was working on that
and brought
then.
y'all's world together.
But he was working on that then because we didn't know that they had issues and all that.
Right.
Because Cube, me and him went to the mall during that tour in '89, and he kicked me to rhyme to little boys and girls. They all know me. He went through all that. I was like, yo, that's crazy. What's that for? He said, something I'm working on. So he already had started developing rhymes at that point.
Did you guys ever flirt with like doing a session together? Like see if you guys cook some shit up?
Would have loved to. I mean, I remember
it's a lot harder back then, by the way. Today,
because
the studio, you can pull the studio over the hotel or the bus.
Exactly. Exactly. No.
Yeah. It's like reel to reel days, you know, trying to find a studio on some random.
I think record label politics would have made that harder back in the day too, where record labels were very strict about signing off on appearances. Like, I don't know if y'all remember back in the day, it would be very common to see in the album's liner notes that if, let's say, I'm trying to think of something real old school. Let's say Brand Nubian was on the Tribe album. It would say Brand Nubian appearing courtesy of Elektra Records, because that used to be very serious back in the day. So I think things are a lot more lax now. I from my experience, when we made the New Negroes album, like Lizzo, for instance, because Lizzo had, this is like, we recorded the song with Lizzo like right before she like super blew up. And so suddenly while we're doing the business of the project, we're dealing with Atlantic Records, and this is like one of their main artists. And we did have to go get them to sign off on her appearance on our project. Like we had, like she had to get a label waiver to allow her to be on something that they didn't control as a recording artist. So for those, you know, very popular, very big mainstream artists, a lot of those rules are still in effect, but just like everybody beneath that, it seems like you can mostly do whatever you want now. But back then at this time, it was probably very strict in terms of them being able to collaborate in a way where songs could come out and all the labels would sign off on it, let alone trying to find a studio and getting it done.
City, like, you know, I'm sure it's not as easy.
Nah.
You guys are on, you know, one of the coolest songs ever. You know, I think about today's world in which there's artists who are thinking about the Gorillaz, obviously. The Gorillaz are like kind of the, you know, shout to the Gorillaz, but Feel Good Inc. was such a big song. And like, how did y'all get pitched the idea?
Just friends who knew them and us, and they just started asking like, yo, would you ever want to work with the Gorillaz? So he's like, oh, you mean the dude who worked with Dell? I was like, yeah. And from there, I guess they let them know, and it just kind of started from that point.
Did you guys know it was going to be like a cartoon group?
We knew the cartoon group only because they had, from when they did the first album, and Dell was on that record.
Yeah.
And I actually did a DJ tour with Danny Automator.
Yeah, Dan's dope, man.
Who produced that song. So, and learning all of that.
I feel like here, you like low key, like what's kind of going on right now where you got like writers like kind of doing the AI thing. It's kind of like in a weird way, like prophetic what the Gorillaz did.
Yeah, no, without question. And I mean, you know, Damon, meeting him, it was just, you know, we just became like family after that. I mean, he was such a great musician, great creative mind, willing to work and try and do anything. Even when, and he reminds me a lot of Q-Tip, like even when he has the smash, he's like, all right, but let me see how it is if I do a variant cover. Let me flip it another way. Yo, Mace, try to add this, do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the same Rad Stash, but I do know what he's saying. Like, the Gorillaz as a band don't exist as human beings. So in that sense, it is similar to the idea of trying to push a band that's not real people. Yeah, I think is the connection that he's trying to make. It's very different, obviously, but I think that's what he's saying the connection is.
Oh, blah, like that's how he was, and it was just we just loved that about him. So from that point on, man, we just became like family. Yeah.
You know, during one of my favorite verses that happened during the pandemic was the Primo RZA one, and I remember that one like made me think like, could De La Soul and Tribe do like a friendly, fun verses? Did they ever hit you guys up?
It floated around. I mean, you know, it floated around, and not that we would have had an issue with it. I just didn't think it would happen. You know, I'm being honest. I didn't think it would happen because I know like Tip don't really like
doesn't
to come
feel like
outside.
the kind of thing Tip would do at all.
Nah. Tip don't like to be outside, let alone just doing that.
De La Tribe versus would have went crazy though.
Without having the artillery of his man, like Fife was already.
Of course,
going
it makes it a lot different. Yeah.
So yeah, he wouldn't have did it.
I was just thinking like, when it was like the IG live version and fools were like at the crib just playing shit. Yeah, that was my favorite versus era when it was like super like we're stuck at home.
Yeah.
Everyone's got rubber gloves when we go to the grocery store. What a wild time, man.
All right, so that's them talking about Tribe. There's another clip here where they talk about Doom. And this one I haven't heard yet, but just I heard that first clip and I was like, oh, I want to hear the rest of these.
One, do you guys have an MF Doom story you could share? And two, I think Rock Cocaine Flow is one of the hardest songs of all time. That record is so fucking crazy.
Yeah,
I remember we had an underground hip hop show in Phoenix. Shout out my guy Squeak Boogie. And they used to play that shit every Friday night on Friday Night Flavors. And that beat, first of all, MF Doom story. And when y'all heard that beat for the first time,
Jake
that
one,
beat
yeah,
is so
Jake,
The
unconventional.
beat is crazy.
Jake one on that beat, yeah.
Bro. Jake one.
Jake one, man. White Van Music.
Man.
Blue Eyed Soul.
Word. And I mean, like, it wasn't, he put it on the CD. I still got the CD. He put it on there by mistake. He didn't realize he put it on there. So when I heard it.
Wait a minute. He put it on there by mistake. That reminds me of that story. I think it's the story of Mos and Kweli doing that song Little Brother over a Dilla beat that was a reconstruction of a Pete Rock interlude from Pete Rock and CL Smooth that they did a song over. But I guess Dilla had either given them that beat by accident or was showing it to him, never intending for them to make something over it because he never wanted Pete Rock to hear that he had reconstructed this beat. But then they put a song on it and put it out so everybody heard that he reconstructed this beat. That's just got to be a crazy feeling. But we should hear them tell the rest.
Like,
of the
funny
story.
enough, the My Life record that we used for Grind Date was on there. And that one. My Life was dope. There was a bunch of other stuff on there that was dope. But when I heard that and I immediately called him, I was like, yo, what is this? And I started singing a beat to him and he was pausing. He was like, yo, pause that. That really wasn't even meant to be on there. He's like, you like that? I didn't think you would. I was like, are you?
Okay, so that's the thing too, right? So I'm guessing this wasn't unintentional in the sense of, oh, this was something that was meant for somebody else or something like that. This brings up the dynamic of producers giving artists what they think the artist will like. When I can even say a lot in my experience, a lot of times producers are surprised by the beat that I end up picking out of what they show me. And a lot of times it's best for me to like go to them and have them play stuff so I could tell them what I like and what I don't like. Cause I think, you know, I mean, it's tough, right? You're a producer, you got hundreds of beats. You have your perspective on that artist, so you send them what you think they'll like. But I know for me, the batting average isn't high in terms of what producers think I like and what they choose to put in the folder, or, you know, back in the day, what they would have put on the CD. So it's wild to hear that this happened with them too.
Fucking kidding me? I was like, yo, we want that one. And forget it. I let David heard it.
Had to be so like just the rights of that shit.
Man.
And like ride the yeah.
but that's right up De La's alley. Like,
of course,
the beat was already crazy, but just the slowing down and starting or the fast, he was like, this is it. And I mean, we just killed it. Dave was like, yo, man, we should put Doom on this. And I was like, with no question. And when Doom heard it, it was the same thing. He came to the studio with the little mischievous face because he knew he had his rhymes. I was like, oh boy, what you got?
Mischievous face.
I'm ready for this. Let me know when I got to go in the booth. And he went in the booth and
just blacked out.
Killed it.
Yeah. Yo, it's crazy too because like when I think of like that era of y'all's career, it was very like you guys kind of like came out in an era where the internet was cracking. So it was almost like Grind Date was like a reintroduction to a whole new fan base for you guys. Because like kids who were 16 at the, I think I was like 15, 16 at the time. Like, you know, shit, I was born in 87. Y'all's first album came out in 89.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. No,
Is that a question? Is that a question, Kev?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I know, dude.
Wow.
No, that was an amazing.
Big ups to the hip hop you love.
Oh, without question.
Another thing, I think, you know, you guys were very instrumental in giving Dilla some of his early placements that, you know, were bigger. Obviously, Stakes is High is incredible.
Well, Dilla only did the title track.
Right.
You know, what was cool about that, it was completely different from anything he did for everyone else. You know? Everything he did for us was totally...
That's true. Stakes is High was a very different beat.
Yeah.
his version of Daylight.
How did you guys get introduced to Dilla?
Just through him meeting.
He was with the Uma.
Well, he met Tip first. Like, Tip was already doing whatever he was doing on the Lollapalooza tour, I believe. Oh my God, I'm just drawing a blank with the Amp Fiddler. So Amp was on there with George Clinton and them. They the one who let Tip hear JD's beats. Like
R.I.P. Amp Fiddler, R.I.P. Dilla, R.I.P. Doom, R.I.P. Dave.
Tribe was on tour with us, but they would come with us on the weekends, but they would go back on the Lollapalooza joint. They was going back and forth. So when Tip came back out with us, he first let Dave hear it. Like they was listening to it on the bus, and I remember just coming on, and they was like, yo, you got to hear this shit. And so we just got a taste of what he was doing. By the time Tip really pulled him into the fold, forget it. And I mean, like, those beat tapes just start flowing, not even beat tapes, just his group, him and Slum Village.
Yeah,
like, and we were just like, yo, these guys are really dope. Let alone when we realized, like, okay, so this guy, he makes beats. I thought his name was like Bullshitness because he kept saying that on one song.
Bullshitness?
And so, like, yo, when we heard what he was doing, it just spoke to all of us. It spoke to us or Pharoah Monch or...
That'd be a terrible producer name. What's your name? What's your name, man? Bullshitness. It's not gonna...
So, man, yeah, forget it. I mean, like, when those tapes start flowing, we were just waiting to get one that was right for us.
Yeah, and it worked out. Like you said, title track on.
Yeah.
You know? Can you guys tell me about, like, when did y'all decide as, like, a collective that, like, Native Tongues was, like, a thing? Like, because I'm sure it was just naturally already a thing.
It was the best thing that never happened.
But, like, you know, obviously the name, who comes up with that name?
Yeah.
You know,
Tip
I know there was...
came up with the name.
Okay.
I originally thought Africa did, only because when I got to Africa's house, Tip was there, walk in, doing whatever, and Tip immediately is like, yo, Af, tell Pos what we were talking about earlier. And then I'm like, what? And then that's when Africa was like, yo, we thinking like whenever we do stuff together, instead of listing everyone's names as groups, let's just be under one name called Native Tongue. I was like, wow, that's dope. Why? And he was like, yo, we all speak kind of like the same language and that's native to each other. I was like, yo, that's a dope idea. We went back and told individual crews. Everyone was with the idea. And that really was it. From there, we just
was there, did you guys, like, how many records did you guys work? Because there was supposed to be like this mythological Native Tongues project that never
gets... The Fabulous Fleas, the Kids on Zenith Ave, all that.
I never heard of that. I never heard either one of those.
Just didn't happen, man. I don't know. Everybody, I mean, we all had individual deals when we came in. And I believe just behind...
Well, you guys were on Tommy Boy, Tribe was on Jive.
Right. That's part of what I'm saying, too. Like, label Jive would have even made it hard for them to do the collaborations that they wanted to do just because they were all on very different big labels at the time.
Right.
I'm
So
sure back then it's a lot more harder to pull all that shit together.
right, it was becoming difficult, and different people had stuff going on. Latifah had the TV stuff coming. Africa had a movie at the time. So, you know, we was kind of on board for everything because it was still fresh and new for us.
Right.
So, but it was just individual, you know, opportunities that were taking place that people felt was a little more important to do.
Do you guys ever kind of just look at the last like 20 years of hip hop and just kind of see like there's so much De La and so much of the, I mean, you go all the way back to when Ye starts coming up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like Kanye is a child of native tongues. And then, you know,
All right, Urkel Modi says Fabulous Fleas was supposed to be Paz Tip Juju from Beat Nuts in Africa. I had no idea about that.
even like a guy like
Also, I've been playing a lot of Silk songs, so the idea of fleas is very specific to me right now.
Tyler, the Creator, all these years later, his own festivals this weekend in LA.
Yeah.
You know, he's very much, I feel like,
Yeah,
know.
he definitely have the native tongue DNA in him.
but do you guys ever, you know, kind of think about y'all's influence on this shit at all? Like,
No, I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't
Think
I don't.
about it. When I see it, I recognize it.
right.
You know, when it comes to the artist, it's admirable. I love it and appreciate it. You know, when it comes to the industry, it stings a little bit. You know, because
that's
you
real.
can see the industry trying to actually do away with our style. You know? So, yeah, you see images, but you don't see us. You know, and that became not so cool. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I didn't pay attention to it. I mean, it's when people ask us about it, yeah, then you pay attention. But we've always just had fun, man, with this music. We were always students of it. So even when young cats come along, you pay attention to what they're doing, and you're like, "Yo, this is dope." And you can see what could be reminiscent of it, but you still look past that and see their own spin on things the way even people did for us. So that's always been dope.
like the artists and the fans, it's always been a great relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So that was mostly it. There's another Dilla clip too. We might get to that another time. Like and subscribe, homie, friend. It's free. Stop playing.